Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the show, motherfucker.
I know you love me. I wanna word you up into my life. Let's roll up to be a single star in the sky. I hear you calling me.
Say what you will about me,
Let's love up to me.
but you can't say that I'm not intriguing.
In the sky to you.
We're going to be talking to Brittaney Simon, TomFoolery, some of the Brittaney Simon ladies about temptation. And a little bit. I don't know what that means. Here's my question. So I just checked out an apartment. Potential roommates. I just checked them out. So let me tell you about that, and then we'll talk about temptation. It was a rat den. It's affordable for me, which is good. It's a room that I could have privacy of my own. My biggest concern, my number one concern, is the internet. There's only one internet port, and it's got Wi-Fi on it, so I would have to figure out a solution to get a wired internet connection into my room, which might cost me a lot of money. I might have to buy an expensive router for them, which is a lot of money. So that's number one concern. Number two, there's two roommates. One of them works nights, sleeps all day, is unwakeable. Perfect roommate. The other guy is a 50-year-old guy. He seems fine. He seems kind of normal. He's got like this decrepit, dying, blind, weird, piss-smelling dog that he put on my lap without really asking if I wanted to hold it, and I was trying to be nice to it, and it wasn't a sweet dog. It was. I love dogs, but it just wasn't. It was freaked out that it was moved out of its bed and whatever. I got to say hi to his weird dog, whatever. But he seemed to really like me. He liked that I showed up on time. He said that I seemed professional. And he, in his apartment, he had, it's like a 50-year-old Mexican guy. In his apartment, he had the most extreme, up-to-date pride flag on one of the walls, draped around the wall. On another wall, he had one of those flags that's like a combination of pride, and then it has a hammer and sickle, and then it has like a Star of David, and then it has like a cross, and then it has like Antichrist symbol, or just all of the symbols. He had that on one of the walls. I told him that I do an internet show and I make content, and she's like, so what do you talk about? And I said Well, the last thing I talked about was these guys, what are they called? The fucking Costco guys. And I was afraid to say, like, I talk about, like, trans stuff. So I was afraid to be totally honest with him. I don't even know how that would go. But that part, I should have just been... But I was scared. I need a fucking place, and I was scared. And so I didn't go there. And so I took the easy path out. I told him about how I talked about the Costco guys. Move to a cheaper city. Yeah, well, this is a cheaper city, actually, but still not great. Maybe I could move even further to an even cheaper place if I can find it. But the most important thing is I need to find a place with internet that's decent, and I need to find a place that's gonna not mind me being a weirdo freak screaming and shit, and screaming Marilyn Manson or something, and God, we are doing this early, aren't we? Yeah, it's early. Do I need to wake you up? Do I need to give you the fucking pizzazz? I need to give you the jazz hands. Welcome to the show. Good sir, get your jollies. Ruffle up your fluffle-upsles. Grab your balls and fluff them up. Why don't you get yourself situated, sir? Get yourself situated, sir. Get yourself stimulated, situated, aggravated assault. Pop up a seat. Ha ha ha. Ooh. Oh, pop up a seat! Pop up a seat! Oh. 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 So my real question is... that place, I don't know if it's going to be good. I don't know if I'm going to be comfortable there. I'll be fine. Also, another thing that's point against it is that the guy is very insistent on not having guests over. And I'm a pussy boy. I live for pussy. Okay. So, and moving out and having women over seems like really important. So that's probably a big thing too. But, so what is the temptation here? Okay. So I told you that. So a temptation. I had a temptation to people please him and not go there with the trans shit or too deep into politics. Was that a temptation? Was it a temptation? Is it a temptation to not move in, or is it a temptation to move in? Both are tempting in different ways. I just need to get the fuck out. I want to move, but also probably would be bad. Probably would be bad for my art, my stream, because I wouldn't be able to scream screamo, or wherever the fuck, and feel comfortable. This guy'd be upset because I'm scaring his old dog or something weird. And all the symbols is weird. I think I have to say no. And all these experiences, they freak me the fuck out. Because I feel so tempted in both directions, and I don't know. I'm so unable to know what is good for me, and I'm just scared and just lost in a sea of confusion. So where's the temptation? What is the temptation here? Is temptation when you know something is bad and that is what you want to do? Well, I know both options are bad. I know both options are bad. Staying here is bad. Moving there is bad. It's probably worse to move there. I should keep looking. I need to find a place with like artistic weirdos. It's just that places with artistic weirdos want people with vaginas or trans people or something. Mainly, I think this guy... Excuse me. I think he was... thought that I had, like, queer-coded glasses and a pink hat, and I think that's what did it for him. I think you're gonna have to say no, bro. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's weird. I think it'll be weird. Yeah. But the biggest thing is the internet connection. You know? But what kind of fucking rat den am I going to be able to find with a decent internet connection? Okay, I gotta call these people. So I'm going to have to put you guys... I'm going to put you guys on a waiting... I'm sure Yuki's familiar with this. Yuki actually made this for me a long time ago. And I'll see you guys in a little bit, okay? It's the first time I've done this type of thing on a stream with like a stream starting soon screen. What's up, Drew? What's up, Drew? Dude, I was talking the other day about... Dude, I think I've decided that I'm totally against the child acting thing. And I know that you feel different. You have different experience. But I realize it really freaks me out. But specifically if you're getting really... If your dad is making you TikTok famous... Like, in smaller portions, I'm not going to care. It's just, but I really realized that it freaks me out. You know, you think it's based. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay, anyway, I have to put you guys on, I'll see you guys in a sec. Enjoy the art that I'm going to show you. Okay? So I'm going to do this and this. I'm back. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. All right. Well, turns out that this conversation is going to be happening at noon PST. So I'm going to have to entertain you, and I don't think I can do that for another 3 hours. But but I have some things I can talk about, and I don't know if I can do that. Yeah, I guess it really was too early to be true, right? Well, look. I guess we just play backpack battles and rant about drama. I'm gonna pull up my notes. Okay, I've got a topic for you. Something that really freaks me out, and I have been stun locked on it. It's so stupid, but it really freaks me out. And okay, so I have a YouTube channel, and I care a lot about my YouTube channel. And so when YouTube gives me a notification in the YouTube studio to take a survey to better their product or whatever, you know, I'm like, I want to just do it, right? But this one freaks me out. Let's see if you can read it. Help us promote fairness and ensure YouTube works for everyone by voluntarily telling us about yourself. We'll keep responses confidential. I don't give a shit if you keep responses confidential. I'll tell you I'm white. I'll tell you I'm a white male. You can tell the whole world that I'm a white male. I'm not hiding it, okay? There's nothing for me to hide. But what I am concerned about is not confidentiality, but how the fuck are you going to use this? Or are you going to, like, does YouTube want to go the way of Twitch and just promote people by race? It's so creepy. It makes everything so much more racist. I have a story to tell you. I think I told it a long time ago, but when things are on stream, they're so like ethereal. They only last so long. I gotta make more fucking videos. Okay, this is something I should make a video about. But I was watching a lot of smaller streamers when Twitch decided to do the whole racial demographic tags, okay? And I watched a lot of black streamers, and I was in a lot of like communities that were black. I was in a couple, not a lot. I was in a couple of black communities, like had a bunch of online black friends, and it was like sometimes there's a black streamer and black people gravitate towards them. And that's fine. And then I ended up in there just by happenstance because I don't know. So I was watching streams, I was lonely, they were playing retro games or whatever. So once Twitch added the demographic tags and the racial then everything became like weirder. Everybody became once their race was like it like for me to be white and be there, it's like, well, it isolates them from once you say I am a black streamer, you are coming to me because I'm a black streamer. Then being a white person watching now becomes suspect, and it becomes weird, and it really changes how everybody perceives everything within the community. It has made, and so it's a tempting thing, because on the one hand, in the short term, if you accept that forbidden fruit and you tag yourself as a black streamer or whatever it is, then you will get a lot more attention early on and as a short boost, but it's going to cap your growth because you're going to be limited by that. Normal audience members don't want to go to black streamer. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, doesn't make it matter if you're black, white, Puerto Rican, or Asian. I don't remember the rest of that Ludacris song, but we're pimping all over the world. Anyway, it doesn't matter for a lot of people, but once you start tagging yourself, it's like, oh, well, this person, they're not just a streamer who's black, they're a black streamer, so I don't feel comfortable joining this community. I would have otherwise, and I would have otherwise even if everybody there was black or whatever. So it dramatically limits your growth when you do that, and but in the short term, it's going to give you a lot of growth. So it's an impossible choice, and you're offering this delectable short-term benefit to all these people, and they're all going to take it, and it's going to just make everybody more segregated and divided, and it sucks. The internet is so good because it can mix everybody together. So anyway, is that what YouTube is doing? Why does YouTube want to know what my fucking demographics are, dude? Why? Just promote content that's good that people want to see. I'm gonna change the title of the stream, man. What should I change the title to? Early. I'm gonna change the title to I don't want to move into the place with the blind dog. Fuck, but I can't afford it, and I can now. I can do it right now. So what is the temptation? Okay, if we're talking about temptation, is the temptation for me to move or not move? Which one's the temptation? I cannot fucking tell. I don't know which one's the fucking temptation. I don't know what's the right choice, but I think it's going to be good for me to just decide not to do it, because not doing it is going to be better for me. And making space for myself. I feel like I have to do it, and I'm bullying myself into it. And it's like, just, oh God. There's no situation that's going to be, no matter what, I'm going to move into a place that's going to dramatically lower my standard of living. Oh, God. Let's change that title. And then I'm going to change the description. That happens at my age. That's true, except currently people my age are expected to have a way worse life than our parents. And it used to be the opposite. We used to be expected to have a better life. My parents, neither of my parents went to college. I'm the only one with a college degree, except I got it in fucking fine arts. And so even though I did that, I'm still going to have a way worse life than my parents. Like a lot worse. A lot worse. A lot. You know, I was watching some video about, I don't know, it was like some AI video where Harry Potter, it was Redneck Harry Potter. They made like a song and they had some AI little clips. But I was just thinking, man, I wish I was like a redneck, you know? It would be nice to just be like a redneck, right? Simple. Why can't things be simple? I want to be a redneck because I don't know what the fuck I am. I'm lost. I'm completely lost. I don't know what the fuck to do. A redneck knows what to do. And there's a place for a redneck. Redneck, you and your buddy start working for your friend's construction company or whatever, you start one or whatever. Like, I would love to work construction part-time, but I don't think that's a thing. And I need to make art. It's what I went to school for. It's what I've focused on for so long. I have to. If I'm not making art, it'll destroy my mental health. It'll destroy me. It's what I exist for, expressing myself. And That's gonna be a bad thing for me. Many oil fields for rednecks to work in. I wish I was a fucking redneck. Wish I was born a redneck, guys, but I'm not a redneck. What the fuck am I? I'm just a rat. I'm a rat. I'm a rat. I'm a sewer rat. OMG Smeth, are you gonna stream for the next 3 hours and then stream 3 more with us? Okay, the thing is, I have work at 4 p.m. EST. So I would have to leave here at 3:30. So at most I could only stream with you guys. So I don't think I can. I didn't realize that you guys were doing it PST time. I didn't realize you were whispering psst, PST, psst. It's a psst time. I didn't realize. I should probably just message. Yeah, there's another coast. There's another coast. You know, what I can probably do is I can pop in, but it's not enough to make a whole stream, but I could probably pop in and without streaming it and be part of it for you guys and then leave. I can do that, I think. You know what's amazing? The most amazing thing about Florida is it touches both coasts. If you go to Florida, you go to the right side, of Florida, you can touch the Atlantic Ocean. And you go to the left side, you can touch the Pacific Ocean. Isn't that fascinating about Florida, guys? You ever thought about that? How you can touch both coasts on both sides of Florida? That's amazing. There's only one place in the United States you could do that. All right, black people want you to admit that you're racist. Women want you to admit that you're misogynist. But applying for jobs, trying to get an apartment, it feels like the opposite. So I'm good with women, I'm good with dating, but it freaks me out doing job interviews, applying for jobs, trying to do interviews for apartments, because I feel like you're supposed to lie. And you're not supposed to admit you're misogynistic or racist. Where in interpersonal relationships, that's great, which I'm great at. But I'm not good at the lying thing, you know? And it's good to be like that if you're a woman. You can just be honest and breeze through by being honest. But if you're a man, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to button up your fucking tie and get it all together and not be honest. So I thought I'd tell you that. Here for nuggets. You're here for nuggets of wisdom. You're here for nuggets of wisdom. You want to hear about nuggets of wisdom? Yeah, you want to hear about nuggets of wisdom? Yeah, I want to hear nuggets of wisdom. Feminism, you want to hear? The upside is if you're dishonest enough, you get that male privilege. I know, but I can't. I just can't do it. I know, but I just can't do it. I cannot. I really can't. So I don't get the upside. I'm really glad. Yeah. So you get it. I'm glad somebody gets it. Fuck. That's why I'm fucked though. I can't do it. I literally physically can't do it. It freaks me out. I become dysfunctional. I can't do it. I can, but it's just so painful and so terrifying to me. Okay, I wrote some stuff about like feminism and chivalry. Okay, so yeah, working as a cashier, it's very clear to me that so I've noticed a very clear dichotomy of women, like a very dramatic dichotomy of two different categories of women. Older women, like, 45-year-old women. There's two different categories. They're very clear. There are housewives and they are retarded. They're like completely retarded. And then there are like wise old women who like you can look up to that have so much insight, and especially having been a woman, they are so emotionally mature and have so much insight. And a housewife isn't that. A housewife is not that. Housewives are more likely to become like a Karen or just retarded, broken. Something goes wrong. They are unable to use their credit card for some reason. They try to tap it and the tap's not working, and the sign says tap's not working, but they didn't read it. And they're like, it's not working, and they look at their husband. Like one woman I'm thinking of, it was like it wasn't working, so instead of communicating with me, she turns to her husband. What's going on? Fix it for me, I'm scared. This dichotomy so let's give me like another another example. This one really got to me. Wife bragged about how the husband's paying for it. She's like, well, it's not like I'm paying for it, she said. And then she looks at him and he's like, it's not like she's paying for it. And they laugh. And she's like, haha, that's because you signed up for that 25 years ago. He's also getting a military discount. He's ex-military guy. And they laugh about how she's coasted through life and he's taken care of her for her whole life, and acting like he's stupid. Like she's mocking him for it too. And bro, no way, dude. That's so there's this dichotomy. I think that these housewives become stupid, really stupid and busted, emotionally immature, psychologically immature, incapable of doing anything. I think that chivalry is a spectrum. And I think that chivalry makes women drooling retards. Chivalry is a form of sexism. But it's not the form of sexism where you're openly like saying misogynistic things. It's a form of sexism where you just expect less of women, so you do everything for them. You treat them like a little baby. You open the door for them all the time. Maybe you drive them everywhere because they shouldn't be driving. Maybe you make them wear a hijab. It's a spectrum. In a Western country, we don't have laws or mandates or rules that women have to abide by. But women still want this quasi. They want the chivalry without the enforcement and expectations. So they want like a quasi hijab. They don't want to have to wear a hijab, but they want men to feel guilty for being horny for them. So they want men to feel guilty, and they don't want to set their own boundaries. So wearing the hijab, you'd be setting a boundary. You can't see me, right? But it's you can see me, but you better not. I better not be aware that you like seeing me. And I'm not saying sexual harassment is good. I'm not saying like that women should deal with sexual harassment. I'm saying like just there's a level of like of psychological control. Like there's a difference between knowing somebody is into you and that being like, oh, this guy's a freak, but he didn't sexually harass me. You know what I mean? I think if you're being good faith, you should be able to understand. Like, there's a difference. So, yeah, chivalry. I'm completely against chivalry. If someone's right behind me, I'm gonna open the door. I'm gonna hold the door for them, no matter who they are. If it's appropriate to hold the door, but just because. So I remember in high school, it was photography class. The classroom had a door, and there was this rich Saudi girl, and she always had like the most expensive cameras and cool shit. We all just had a piece of crap camera that we got off of fucking Craigslist for $100, and she had like a fucking $5,000 camera for her high school photography class. But regardless, I remember one time I went in. It was almost time for the bell to ring, so I hurried up and I went into the room, and she was there. I didn't see her behind me, so I went in, and then I saw through the window of the door. She went, and then she looked around, and then she was like waiting. She was waiting for someone to hold the door open for her. And she waited outside the room for like 5 minutes, and the class started. And she looked around, and she got really frustrated, and she opened the door, and she went in adamantly. She sat down on her seat. You're a retard. They've broken your brain, sweetie. I'm realizing my last stream, I didn't like it too much because I was reading I like reading chat, and I like fighting with you guys a little bit, but I was doing it too much. And I need to get in the zone and really go, but I just was low energy. I have to get in the zone. Get in tune. That's what you're here for. Too many bad people. Yeah, chat was interfering with the performance. Yeah, I like you a lot, Fargo. You're like really, you're like the perfect chatter because you disagree with me so much, and I insult you and you insult me, and the relationship, that's good. Yeah. Anyway. Hairy feminism is the only real feminism. Blue-haired feminism is a lie. Hairy feminism, hairy, sweaty, ugly feminism is real feminism. Blue-haired feminism is a lie. It's a farce. The other day, another example, I went to a burrito place for my lunch break. I have a half an hour lunch break. I went to the burrito place, and there was a woman in line in front of me, a middle-aged woman, clearly getting food for their family. Actually, this wasn't the burrito place. Burrito place was busy. This was Panera Bread, which is stupid. Panera Bread's so expensive. I'm never going to do that again. It's not worth it. That I was trying something different. Anyway. She was in line in front of me, and she is like fighting with the person at the register, the server. She's like, the server, the cashier explains to her, just so you know, that is on a ciabatta now because we don't serve it on a baguette anymore. A ciabatta is basically a baguette, but like a little oilier. It's like the same. It's almost the same fucking thing, dude. It's better. It's better. A ciabatta is better for a sandwich. It's just smaller, and you cut the baguette and make smaller pieces. But this woman didn't know what a ciabatta was, and was just like freaking out. And so for every order, she meticulously fought the server about what bread it was, and like, but what kind of bread is that? What is a ciabatta? I don't want ciabatta. No, I don't want ciabatta. It can't be ciabatta. She doesn't know what the fuck ciabatta even is. She doesn't even know. Well, can you cut off? I'll cut a baguette and then put it in that, and so like she had every single fucking thing that she ordered was special ordered, and it's like, oh, is that it? And yep, that's it. And then she starts, okay, that'll be, oh, no, by the way, I had something else. I wanted to go over, and she looks, and she goes, walks away from the cashier, and she goes, looks at the fucking bakery items, and she says, I want this, and I want this. And then the cashier's like looking like, I have no fucking idea what you're even pointing at. And she walks back, and she's like, all right, so I'll add that, and she's like, the cashier's like, okay, I don't know what you wanted. What items did you want? And I'm just sitting there like looking at my watch like, oh, I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late back from lunch. And so my hatred and my misogyny happening in this moment is blooming. I'm like, oh god, dude, I hate women. Yeah, but it's not all women. It's housewives, and it's a feminist thing. It's a feminist thing to learn. It's chivalry that turns women like this. She is, because like when a guy, not all men and not all women, obviously, but the taboo guy goes in and he's like, what do we got? We got a problem. Oh, the problem is the bread's different. Okay. Is this bread similar? Like, okay, well, we'll do that. Okay. We figure it out. What is the problem? We have two options. We were going to pick one of them and we're going to go with it. And we're not like, so you deal with the problem and you solve the problem. You go in, you know what you're going to order, and you order. Like women are stereotyped as being so indecisive. It's not that I don't think women are just born indecisive and stupid. I think women are indecisive because men are always making decisions for women. That's why women are so indecisive, because we're constantly making those decisions for them. What's up? You seem new to chat. In lip. The masculine problem-solving mindset. Wish you would apply that to your own problems. I am. I just got a message. Someone might join. Yeah, I think. Okay, wait, okay. I think I have. Okay. All right, she was listening. So this is somebody that was listening to the stream that was going to be on the stream with Brittaney Simon, and she might join in. All right, in like 20 minutes. Okay, so I gotta entertain you for 20 minutes. Okay. In my chat, someone says, "What women are you hanging with? You need more professors and business ladies in your life, Smeth." That's the problem. I'm a cashier, so I deal with retarded housewives constantly. And they're so fucking retarded and unbearable. And it's not all women. I see a clear distinction. It's the chivalry thing. It makes women stupid. And it turns women into this archetype that we all hate. All women hate this women too. Like, I've known so many women that all talk about how they like can't stand this. It's men turning them like that, or all the people in their life. So you want to call in? You can call in. Aaron Sound. Aaron M Sound. You can call in. Let's have it. Let me see. Find you. I'll talk to you for 20 minutes or so. Yo, what's up?
Hey, how you feeling this morning? Other than dejected and needing a job and looking for a good woman.
No, I have a job. I just don't like it. And I'm not.
No, I know. But you're still looking for a job. That's what happens.
I'm not.
And just so you know, it's fair. It's fair to have.
Looking for a good woman is probably the easiest thing. I don't ever. I think when it's looking for a good apartment that's cheap. I just want a cheap place that I can keep making my art and yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to call you about that because two things. Number one, I see artists all the time. I get people sending me art for projects and stuff that are more physical and shit. You have incredible stroke. You have incredible style. Don't let that hold you down. I honestly think, and this was what I was going to tell you earlier, man, maybe you're just not in the right city for it, and it's time to pick up and travel, man. You're young enough to go fuck up. Fuck up, Smeth. Go fuck up.
I am 30, but yeah. Yeah.
No, it's 30. 30 is the new 20 now. Kids at 20 are fucking 16, bro. Yeah. I mean, or less. I mean, I was hearing a conversation last night about some bullshit of somebody who was 17 dating a 15-year-old, and everybody's up in arms, and it's like, oh my god, I had friends get married like that.
I do think I need to. Okay. I want to love you one more misogynistic thing. I want to hear your response from it. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
This is a pretty good one. I think this is a pretty brilliant. Insight about women. Okay. So you know how there's like the archetype of women seem to really like witchcraft, crystals, that kind of stuff, horoscopes a lot more than men, right?
A certain type, yes. Certain type.
Yes, not all women, not all women, but it is
No.
clearly alluring to women more than it's alluring thing to women. Okay, that's because so the reason for that, I believe, is because the thing that empowers women in their life more than anything is their appearance. And so the way that they get empowerment is indirect. Like, I'm going to constantly work on my beauty. I'm going to like, and so it's like crafting spells. It's like, it's what is the word? It's like superstitious. I'm putting these lotions on my skin. I'm applying this thing to my eye every day. It's like it's like you're doing witchcraft.
Aren't you talking about the housewife in this case though? When I say this, or the religious person, the person who's easily falling into a non-educated state. Where this is the other thing again is even. And by the way, I got to say this. I got to push back. You as a cashier are seeing this wide array of people right now. You are in one of the greatest positions to be able to go, okay. This one, and then get her your number if you don't get fired. But this is the other thing I was going to tell you is you're a good-looking dude in general. You know, I don't think you realize that. You may be a little wafy, but bro, you are the type of guy who, if you're standing at the fucking cashier's section, I don't think you realize that there's a bunch of lonely cat ladies who have a ton of money who want to fund your art stuff. Who are flicking their bean to you as they leave the fucking cashiers.
So I should just start hitting. So, oh god, I got a story for you. Okay, I feel so fucking. I just remembered this. I would never have remembered it unless you said this, but now I'm remembered, and I felt so guilty. Now I feel so guilty again. It's not reasonable though. It's stupid. But it's because of how they might perceive me. So my coworker, I have a new she just started working there, and she's I don't know, she's probably like 22, and then there's a fresh hire, and the fresh hire is like 18, and so I really get along with this 22-year-old. She says she wants to like work at a daycare or something, and I'm talking to her about like kids, and she's funny, and she is training the fresh new hire, or like and neither of them know what they're doing. That's all just background ambience for the story. She covers my shift or what my break, and I come back and she's with the new hire that is shadowing her, and she's telling her it's so fucking crazy. I feel like I've been working here for like 10 years and it's only been like so many days. And I was like, what? And she tells me this story. She says, yesterday 3 different men asked to show me their dicks throughout the shift, and I was like, okay, So then I was like, wow, jeez, god damn it. And I was like, now all these old men that shop here, I'm gonna be having that in my head. And then I was like, asked her a probing question. I was like, so did they do it like seductively at all? Like were they like flirting good, or was it just? And so I really wanted to get a picture of like if they were just being crude or if they were hitting on her. That's what I was trying to get at.
And can you confirm or deny whether I got a slight sense of jealousy from you? Because I sense that maybe you wish that, in certain way, and I think all men do, that women would approach men the way the most
there's
men do. I think I really do.
Sort of, yes, but also I wish that I could just hit on women randomly, and
practice. That's practice, bro. That is pure.
Well, no. Here's the thing. I can do that, but at work, I'm afraid of getting fired and shit.
Oh yeah, no. At work, yeah, don't cross section, but and if they have policy about it, don't do it at fucking the register. But you can do it sneaky. You can be really that friendly guy that everybody likes, and trust me, at some point some lady's gonna hang out.
But that's also the same. That's the same justification. Like that friendly guy everyone likes that gets away with it is also the guy that's the rapist that gets away with it. So
I bet that's you guys being fucking hyperbolic and fucking reactionary and totally ignorant to how life works. Frankly, because that's the chances you have to fucking take in life. There's 8 billion of us. And of course, there's going to be a 0.1% that is going to be the fucking freakazoids, men and women. So but for you, I think you're just in a kind of a place that doesn't suit you, man. And this happens to a lot of people. They get stuck in places that never suit them, and they capitulate to the world around them and don't make their own world. And this is something one of the reasons why I wanted to call you is because I wanted to really push you to be like, hey, man, go fuck up. Fuck up.
Yeah, I gotta it's a point of shame that I have a $7.99 credit score. I shouldn't.
Woo, baby, come on. You need a roommate? Come on. No, okay. So first and foremost, that roommate thing too. I would highly suggest at your age, one thing that did me well, that put me way further than my colleagues in what I do, which is also an art field, by the way. But I'm in the NBA basically. Let's just call it that.
The NBA?
It'll put you there too. Well, no, I work in rock and roll. But let's just consider it that to get to the level, like, you never get to stop hustling in my world. You know, I mean, I'm still hustling because I'm in the art world at 50. And that's because I love it. That's because it's my life. That's because it's everything I do, and I will never stop hustling it, you know? But it just never stops. You never really get time to say, okay, I just made it to the next level. By the time you're realizing where you're at, you've already moved on. But that takes a lot of connection. And early on, this is what I was going to point out. I lived in a house with like 6 roommates in a shoddy situation for almost a decade, living with my PA in the same fucking room, Smeth, and taking gigs that endangered my life, for God's sakes. And you know what it did for me? It connected me to all kinds of people I would have never met otherwise, that I still have friends to this day and colleagues that help me move on. And that's what I'm suggesting for you, is I think you're just locked into this world. And let me tell you something, streamers aren't creative fuckers. They sit in front of the camera. You're one of the few, you're one of the few people who's figured it out.
I know.
And, you know, so that's a whole other portion of it is these folks, I don't want to say they're dragging you down, because it's always a propeller to an airlift, you know, of sorts. It gives you a platform. But I really, truly think that the mindset of this circle isn't helpful to anybody. It is a subset, and it's a subversive little group of
I'm
folks
aware.
who are the outliers. Yeah, I know.
So, yeah. Well, thank you very much. All right.
No, I just wanted you to know, man. First and foremost, go get yourself something elsewhere. Also, art directors elsewhere. I think you should be fucking making art out here and somewhere in the West. There's a lot of work for you.
Yeah.
Don't paint that fucking blind dog apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds. Well, no. Okay, so here's the thing. You're telling me you got to take risks and shit, but then but that sounds like that's the risk thing. So I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do.
Okay, that take the right risks. Don't just take any risks.
Oh, that's so easy for you to say, Mr. old ass man who was already. It's so fucking easy for you to say.
No, you're gonna make some wrong ones.
Well, the wrong one's gonna lead me the wrong risk. Like that wrong risk is gonna be really bad for me for a really long time. And like.
No, you shouldn't assume that. You're still young. And it's when you take risks that are like, it's going to destroy your life. That's the stuff that you take way more time than just your apartment. But when it comes to that, it's like, well, if you're in the East and probably the Boston area, if I remember right, or Chicago, right? Yeah, Chicago. Oh, that's tough, man.
No, Boston area.
Boston area. Okay, so that's better. You can find a place where there's 10 people and they're all artists and they're actors and shit like that, and go get in and you know, then you start dating an artsy girl, a witchy lady, a professor, a mathematician. That's how you get in that world, man. And you know, and sometimes you got to be poor. Sometimes you got to just be pissed.
I am poor, motherfucker. I get it.
You got a fucking $7.99 credit score. You ain't poor.
All right. Thank you very much.
Anyway, no, I appreciate you, Smeth, and go fuck up. All right.
All right, go fuck yourself. Okay, bye.
Hopefully I will.
Okay, bye. Okay. 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 Paying my parents every week when they don't actually need the money and they're just trying to like prove something to me is like a fucking dagger in the heart, because it's making it even harder to move out and it's harder to fucking save money, but they just want to. I'm paying them to not be abusive and to just leave me the fuck alone. It's so fucked. And my dad if my mom is nice to me in front of him, he will be nice to me, and if she's mean to me in front of him, he will avoid me like the plague. His parenthood has always been contingent on if he thinks he'll get in trouble from my mom or not. Talk about being... He's the housewife. He's the retarded housewife. Even though he's making the money, too. He's making the money, too. So she's also the retarded housewife. They're both retarded. They both retarded. They made each other retarded. God. I was thinking, I would love to see the security camera footage. I would love to get all of the security camera footage of myself at work, and like use a giant time lapse of a whole bunch of weird interactions, and make a video or music video out of it. Wouldn't that be fucking cool? They'll never do that. They would never do that. They shouldn't do that. It would be bad for them. Because I'll make them look horrible. I will make my employer look so fucking bad if I do that. But I would be really cruel. Yeah. Oh man, I should do a whole project just to shit on them. I had a Greek friend. His mom was very overbearing. Every day she would call from Australia to argue with my friend. Yeah, well, here's the... Okay, so my parents, my childhood, it's all very weird. So you're talking about my dad's childhood. The childhood that fucked up my dad. My childhood, I'm an only child. That broke my dad. He's also the youngest of a giant family. He was treated like a precious little baby. And then he got that treatment, constantly fighting with his parents. And then they he took me to their grave once. He drove me like an hour and a half to some giant fucking graveyard. And just to show me that he wanted to tell me all about his guilt that he wasn't nicer to them before they died. And he did that as per the instructions of my mom. My mom, her family, just tons of white, just English, French, Canadian, and her dad was rapist and abusive. He would physically abuse my grandma and her brothers and sisters, and he would beat them, but she was the good one. So he would never beat her. She was the good special one. And she would try to protect them, but I don't think she did a good job, clearly. I mean, and also she shouldn't be in that role. And now she's super fucked up and controlling from that. And narcissistic from that. And she has taken her own grandmother, moved my grandma up to here so that she can be in control of her life and the finances of her, and just control everything. And she complains about my grandma constantly. And grandma didn't protect her. So I'm the only child of these two fucked up people. Doing their best. And if I was a woman, someone might step in and be my new dad. You know what I mean? You know? And me being a guy, it's my parents are oh, but you're a guy, we don't have to be parents, right? Do you think your frustration might stem from the feeling that you're being controlled or limited? I mean, yeah. Yes. I was very sheltered and controlled. I didn't have a lot of friends. My mom controlled everything. Yeah, very sheltered. Yeah. All right. Manushka's ready. Otherwise known as Arena. Okay. Hey.
Hello.
Can you hear me? You saved me. Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Okay, awesome. I missed the last few minutes of the stream, so if there were any new insights, I don't know what they are.
Okay, I'll see if I can get your reaction off of something. Hold on.
Okay.
Here, I'm just setting you up. Thank you for saving me. I talked to you once before on my stream, and you're definitely type 2 woman. You're not you're not. I absolutely am a misogynist. Like I clearly have a lot of like fucked up feelings about women. I clearly do, but yeah. So how do you feel about that?
I mean, I feel like everybody does that. That's why we work through them and talk about them.
Yeah.
So,
but some of
I feel
those
like
things
acknowledging
some of those things are true. I think that all the things that I think are my observations about some women, there are common observations, and I think the reasons for those things are because of how we treat women. Like I think that there are like I think housewives actually become stupid.
I see, and I wanted to call in because I definitely see that in the types of men that really pride themselves on being a provider, but not even in a real trad way. Because I feel like, okay, there's like within the women that you're talking about, there's like other subgroups, right? Like I'm thinking about the old country, like my grandmas or whatever, or like, you know, those different kinds of within the traditional roles, there's like the different subgroups.
I don't have experience with those.
Yeah. So it's different versus like the suburban housewife that you think of in the United States, right? And so there's like I think of like the white knight type of older man who just loves naive young women, right? And they love it when women are stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they want, right? And so, no, I definitely agree with that. I think it's like a chicken or the egg situation. I do think that they feed off each other. And I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a thing, because I think people should be free to choose whatever life they want. And if they want to choose a life of whatever that is, that's cool. I just don't want it imposed on the rest of us who just want to, you know, be independent. And
so how do you feel about... So yeah. I think that it's different. I think women, okay, it's from an outside perspective, not like from the perspective of a woman, but from my experience of women and my misogyny, women are the worst. You know, I'm saying it like that on purpose. Women are the worst in the Western countries, the housewife women, because in the traditional setting, like you have like a role and you're like respected for it, but in like the Western housewife, she wants to not have these rules imposed, but she wants them to still kind of exist too. And so like it's rather than, because if you are wearing a hijab every day or something, you know what the boundaries are, and you kind of are like, you put it on, nobody can see me, you know what I mean? And so you kind of like, but like if instead of that you just want nobody to look at you, like as like an extreme example, like an exaggeration, then it's like you want other people to like put hijabs on their eyeballs. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. I do think that that conversation is a little bit interesting in that, well, okay, obviously a hijab or a niqab or like a full-on like veiling is pretty common in some countries, but if you're wearing a hijab or a burqa or a niqab in a Western country, you're gonna get looked at. Ironically enough,
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
Because it's not very common.
Well, what I mean is the enforcement of it.
The enforcement of it, yes. And also, though, the other point I will say is, I think that no reasonable person is like, don't look, right? It's more about,
okay, so
like,
I meant that that's obviously an exaggeration, but you're right. You're right to point that out. But a better example would be the very small, because I consider these on the spectrum of chivalry, and so in the they're very small, almost benign, but I still don't like it. Like holding the door open, like so I feel like it is like or expecting men to so I was watching a meme video the other day, and maybe I have it right here. I don't know if I have it. I might. Give me 2 seconds and I'll. No, I don't have it. Okay. Anyway, so there was some woman. I think it was on a stream. It went viral. She was cooking, and the food went on fire on the stove, and she starts screaming, and her boyfriend comes in. He's like, "Just turn it off, turn it off." And she's like, "I don't know." She's just screaming at him, and he doesn't know he's not familiar with her stove, so he's like, "I don't know how to turn it off." And then she just starts screaming and like at him and like mad at him to do something. And she's not like doing it like herself, even though she's the one who should know how to do it, and he isn't. And so I feel like that stems from chivalry. It stems from the same thing that makes people like men hold doors for women, and it's just like I think she's actually become stupid, like she and unable to do anything.
I think it's a stupidness in things that have to do directly with maybe bodily harm. And I think of also like, I mean, I'm very stupid when it comes to power tools. I mean, I could probably watch a YouTube video and figure it out, like for sure. But
well, wait, hold on. I have a question about that. So I'm probably I have no experience with power tools, but I can picture two things in my awful misogynistic mind. Okay, so I can picture somebody. I can picture myself not knowing how to use a power tool and figuring it out, and then doing it methodically and slowly and trying to get it right. Mm-hmm. Or I can picture someone like fumbling and doing it like an airhead and then getting hurt. And so like women hurt themselves with power tools all the time. Like they hurt themselves with, in particular, the most injuries. I don't know if this. I heard this like a couple years ago. The most injuries from a power tool is a power. What is it?
Like a drill?
A drill, yeah. Be a power drill, because women get their hair caught in it.
That's interesting. I did not know that statistic. But for me, I have a similar, like, I'd probably look it up on YouTube. I'd, like, make sure that everything's set up correctly. But, like, as of now, I have no idea, about power tools. And I also wonder when it comes to, like, certain emergencies, like a fire being set, and especially on the stove, it's probably a grease fire. I mean, okay, you turn the stove off. Does that necessarily put out the grease fire? If it's a gas stove versus if it's an induction stove. See, it's like that kind of thing. I'm like, oh, I don't know, but that doesn't mean I'd yell at my partner about it. I wouldn't pour water on it. I know that. Turn it off, first step. And then if it's still on fire, maybe put some flour on it. Something like sand. But you have
to do something. You have to make a choice and do something.
Yeah, you'd have to do something. So I wonder... I do think there is somewhat of a point that about certain things women aren't quote unquote expected to know in comparison to men. But then the same thing with men, like before my fiance and I got together, he was eating white bread with avocado and cheese every single day for food, for sustenance. Okay, like fine. Because of me, he is eating a varied, healthy diet and I'm becoming a better cook too. And this is like how it shook out. If I ended up with like a 5-star chef, I'd probably be stupid at cooking, right? But I didn't. And if I ended up with somebody who didn't know how to use power tools, but they, were super good at cleaning the house, I would end up being that person. So, it wasn't like imposed on me. That's just kind of how things ended up. That being said, we did grow up in a # society. So there were probably some things that led us to being here. But I do agree with you. I also, that story you said about that girl from Saudi Arabia who stood outside the door for 5 minutes. I just can't imagine the level of entitlement it takes to end up there.
She was so rich. She was, like I was saying, like this is like an entry, like first time ever. There's a dark room and we all got like literally $100, like old crappy, like, and she gets like a $5,000 like DSLR and we're like, what are you doing? Like this, it was like, and she would like, she had like this like head coverings and stuff. They would look so like soft and like luxurious, and it was crazy. I think she had like a pool in her house,
like in the house, like an indoor pool.
Yeah,
that just kind of sounds like it's always the extremes like that end up, I think, shaping our perception, and I think that's kind of. And that's for survival reasons, right? By the way, one of your commenters said towel or Dawn soap for oil fire. Thank you so much. I will keep that in mind because I do be cooking. Okay, so I do think that it's a survival instinct, right? To keep in mind the biggest extremes, because if you come across the extreme,
her being rich, that's just flavoring for the story. But really, her being rich wasn't really, didn't have to do with her standing outside the door. Or like, I mean,
no, not outside the door. No, it's not about her being rich. It's about the entitlement, the extremeness of her entitlement, and the extremeness of, because I can't imagine that this is reflective of most women and or girls, considering she was in high school.
She came from a different culture.
Saudi Arabia, right?
You see, yeah.
But I've known, Saudi women in my university, so kind of similar-ish age group when you're in freshman year, and I didn't have that experience, right, necessarily. But I think about like it's that kind of behavior is an extreme behavior, just like the men that would harass me coming home from school was an extreme behavior, but certainly not reflective of most men, right? It's just that the worst stood out to me, rest of them.
I know. I wanted to get this clear. I don't think most women. I don't even.
No.
I don't think most. What I'm saying. The reason I said that.
Why.
Yes, I think that it is chivalry that makes women stupid.
Yes.
Yeah, and so.
But my counterpoint to that would be that those men that were harassing, that were the minority, right? They also ended up there because of patriarchal expectations and stuff like that. But they're still representative of the extreme in any case, even within a patriarchal society or in a chivalrous society, right? And so then the question becomes...
It's the same thing. Because...
Yeah. I agree. It's patriarchy, yeah.
Yeah, because that entitlement that they have comes from, like, so when you're chivalrous, it's because you're doing these, like, you expect certain, you feel like you deserve things from women, and like, when you give a woman, when you open the doors for her, when you pay for all of her food or whatever, it's like, that's because you're gonna suck my dick or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, it's an expectation. It's
I guess my question.
I'm building your house for you. On this construction site, so just deal with it when I tell you, like, weird, creepy shit.
Exactly. I wonder though, and I do think we are moving in a good direction of getting rid of those expectations, but I do wonder what the extremes look like when we do get rid of those expectations.
Yeah, because there are going to be differences between men and women behaviorally, and we're gonna and so. Yeah, and so I think it's obvious that we clearly do, and it's so over. Like, this was what we were saying in the 90s, and it's still true. It's worse now, but like it's just not true that we have gotten rid of them anymore. Like we have gotten rid of some things. So it confuses the whole conversation. Like for instance, women's barrier to entry in like tech jobs or jobs as like a CEO. Every company wants a woman CEO because they're better. Like that's a fact right now. They way outperform men because the role, like the skills, the tools that women have, the being social. Like most CEOs are narcissists, but women who are narcissists have different skill sets, and those skill sets are better for being a CEO.
That's interesting. I never heard of that. I've heard the opposite in that the glass ceiling or whatever isn't real. Women don't choose those types of jobs. Women tend to choose, that's
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, though. I'm saying that women can do it, but they don't want to.
Can do it, but they don't want to. I do wonder about that because I don't know if I would want to be a CEO, for example.
Well, me either.
But yeah, so I feel like wanting to be a CEO.
I don't blame women. I like that's the thing. I'm so jealous of women in so many ways because I would like to just like be able to like just make my art and not try to like. I feel like I have to become my own sugar daddy to just be an artist.
I mean, you know that one gentleman that came into your stream and said you should hit up the older ladies at the cash register to be your sugar mamas. I think he was onto something.
Yeah. But if I do that, I actually will. Like, so there's no winning for me as a person because if I do that, I will be overwhelmed with guilt and I will...
But you don't think you'd be overwhelmed with guilt having a sugar daddy as a woman, or like disgust maybe?
I would. Okay, I really would. I would. I'm not fucking with you. I really would. So I get it, but I'm still jealous, and so there's no winning. No winning.
That's interesting.
No winning for you. There's no winning for me.
Yeah. It's a win if you so you got to make the best of your situation. I do think like things like holding the door for whoever's behind you, that should just be just a sign of polite society, regardless of gender. I think giving up seats to the elderly and or like disabled people, or if somebody asks for a seat, like, yes, please sit. You know, it's just like these obvious. Well, to me, they're obvious, right? Like, because an elderly person probably can't stand for 20 minutes on the bus.
Pregnant women do deserve special treatment because they're pregnant.
That's literally, I think, considered, or at least in some workplace policies, like a temporary disability. Pregnancy, and pregnancy can be disabling. So I think we're right now just separating the wheat from the chaff, as it were, of what are useful things in polite society and what are kind of useless. If you see anybody, for example, struggling to carry their grocery bags, it would be polite to offer them to help, right? Regardless of if it's a woman, man, or whoever.
You have I was about to cut you off, but I realized you might be getting somewhere.
Oh, no, please.
Okay, so you're Middle Eastern, right? Yeah. Okay, so
Armenian.
Okay, so in that case, I've been talking about hijabs and shit, and I was ranting. I can be like pretty misogynistic in my Discord diary, but I always come around. Okay, but I say misogynistic shit in there. Okay, but anyway, it's part of the coming around part because I was ranting about how I was pissed about that woman who made me women who made me late for my lunch break, and then I ended up at the place talking about hijab but it's like a cultural symbol that we use when we talk about feminism because it's an extreme that in like at least in the United States we all agree that like women shouldn't have to wear hijabs, and so but then someone like responded to me and said like they had a distaste for the fixation on it and it seems kind of racist. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I'm Armenian, the first Christian nation. The Assyrians will argue that. You don't have anything
to do with hijabs?
No, we do have like traditional. So veiling in the Middle East comes from like, it's the weather, dude. Like it's the weather. It's hot. You want to cover your head. That's kind of why. In our traditional national costumes, we do also have veils and stuff. And way back in no. I mean, we do like not we, but if you are religious and if you do go into an Eastern Orthodox or rather Armenian Orthodox church, you as a woman are expected to cover your head, but not like full hijab. It's literally just like a white little lacy doily you put on your head. Like it's not that you don't cover up as much as devout Muslim women would. Armenia has a very, I would say, contentious relationship with Islam because of the Armenian genocide. So I will say that, like, my bias obviously is that I think, there is a lot of cultural pressure for women to wear hijab. But at the same time, I watch a couple of creators, Medina TV, Ninja Mommy. They actually wear the full niqab, so they cover their face as well.
You don't think I'm racist though when by using the hijab as an example?
Well, I don't think it's for me to say. I'm not from a Muslim background, but okay. I often Afghanistan just recently passed like a law where women must not only wear the hijab, but the full niqab, and I think cover their eyes as well. I'm not sure what that piece is called. I just know up to niqab. And women also can't sing in public. They can't read aloud in public, and they can't appear on TV. Dude, and so
imagine having that as a mom. Like your mom, like that would fuck you up to have a mom who had that done to her. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so right now, like I very much feel for the women in Afghanistan. At the same time, I do think in the West, it's like, I feel like in the West, the Muslims who grew up here, they feel a connection to their culture and their religion. And so they want to express it and they want to be visibly Muslim in that way. And it's not like legally enforced by them. It might be culturally imposed by them, by their family, which I do also think is bad. But I think a healthy version of it could exist. I'm kind of jealous
in a way of the whole forcing women to cover thing because it would be so much sexier to see women like, no, this is not like this is just like a very personal, but like I feel like if I didn't see women's bodies all the time, it would be so much sexier when I did. But
it's the Victorian ankles argument. Ankles were so sexy when you were.
Like so I'm into that, but I think I have to sacrifice that for not like like forcing women to do dumb shit for my sexuality. You know what I mean?
I do think the best approach is probably I guess I could call it a Western approach where women can dress how they want. And I do think we're doing that dance now, right? Like I often give festivals and as an example, that's where women will dress like the absolute sluttiest just because of the culture of festivals and raves. And the men there act appropriately. Like they go like, hell yeah, girl, but like I've not experienced any sexual harassment at a festival yet.
Well, depending on how slutty, what appropriate could mean just jerking it.
Well, I mean, okay, I think we all agree that masturbating publicly would go under, but you get what I mean.
I'm going by the logic of I don't know. I feel like at some point you actually want people to jerk off to you, like right on the spot. Like I mean, like you could. I'm saying like maybe like that's obviously true. Like for no matter who you there's going to be a context for it, right? But at some point you actually like at a sex club or something. But at some point, like you're wearing fetish gear, or like I'm saying, like there is a point at which you are sexualizing your body to the point where you actually do want someone to just.
Oh, okay. So for me, the spectrum would be there's people who go to sex clubs, right? I don't. For me, that point would be with my fiance.
Obviously, yeah.
Obviously. But that level would never be reached in public, right?
I'm not accusing you. I'm just saying that there is a point.
I'm saying for most people, right? And so,
obviously,
yes, there is that point for people who, I guess, aren't asexual or whatever, or celibate. So I guess, so what is your question? Like,
I'm just making a comment about, like, I'm just saying that they're like, so I'm like,
okay.
So because I feel a reason I'm making that comment is because I feel like people, particularly women, because men really aren't permitted to go down this path at all, but a lot of things that you can do to your body are sexualizing. And it doesn't mean that you should be sexually harassed or something, but I don't think that we should lie about the fact that it's a spectrum of, like, I'm sexualizing myself, so you are supposed to see me sexually. You know what I mean? Like, so so like it's a very troubling area where we have a lot of gray. We don't have very clear. It's complicated. I don't even think we can have clear lines because it's going to be different. I think it's different for everybody.
From me, well, yes, the lines are different for everybody. But I actually had this conversation with Brittany a couple of years ago about how the line, at least to me, is, would I put a child in this? And, like, obviously, even if a child is wearing something completely inappropriate,
that's not the line.
Well,
I mean,
you shouldn't sexualize the child. Well, no. But I'm saying that I get your point that some clothing is meant to be sexual. Mm-hmm. Yes, like, I wouldn't put a child in this because this is clothing for adults that is meant to communicate and exude sexuality. Mm-hmm. So that's for me is the line. At the same time, even if a terrible parent does put their child in that's no excuse to sexualize the child, obviously. Yeah. But I do think
the parent did it, and there's no excuse for them doing it.
Exactly. Yes. Also, so I think that line is that, and every culture, in all timelines, had clothing for adults that was meant to exude sexuality.
How do you feel about when people like Jordan Peterson say, like, lipstick is, like, meant to
it does increase sexual dimorphism. Women tend to have more blood flow in their lips, and lipstick highlights that.
I think he's saying it's something like that. It shows, like, signs of, like, sexual virility and or something. I don't. But yeah, I think that's true. There's some like blush,
it's literally just, so the interesting thing about, I think, the culture that we have now is that it is reflective of how a lot of people would naturally behave. The problem is, for the people like us who wouldn't, it being imposed on us, right? And so, I think that sexualized dress for men and or women is meant, and styling for men and or women is meant to increase the contrast between us because we are a sexually dimorphic species, right? And so, for men, it's sexy when he has big arms, right?
Okay, well then completely different point there, but I actually think I disagree in a weird way. This is so weird. But okay, changing gears here. Hold on, I need to do something here. Hold on.
Sorry, I feel like I keep missing the point and going off on my own tangents.
Whatever. So, I think that a lot of the stuff that women do, I don't know about, like, to sexualize or not, but a lot of the women's beauty stuff actually makes them less sexually dimorphic. So, like, long hair, for example, I think that women look more sexually dimorphic with short hair because their neck's thinner and it exposes their neck, their, like, Adam's apples, like, they don't have an Adam's apple usually. Their skull is, like, like, smaller usually. So, like, like, women look more like they're different from men the shorter their hair. Also, men naturally have thicker, longer eyelashes.
They do. Yeah. That's always, like, a thing women lament about.
Yeah, so, like, all these beauty things, I feel like women are, like, kind of trying to look more like men in a way.
I think so. I do think that stuff like hair is a little bit different and very, very culturally dependent. But I do think that for the most part, in most cultures, men and women do style themselves very differently from one another for the purposes of sexual dimorphism.
Yeah, but
like,
it
the sexual dimorphism thing was like 100,000 years ago. So what we have now isn't always necessarily, I think, going to derive from that, right? Like the long hair or whatever. Maybe there was a belief about long hair.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
and then
I don't care about the beliefs. I'm just saying that like the sexual differences, it contradicts the sexual. I think that women with ironically, women with long hair are they look less like women.
That is so interesting because that is such a different perception from most people.
Well, they look like women, but
Yeah.
they look less female. Like because of like long hair or these abstract things like women wear dresses and they wear pink and they do all these things. Because of those things, if I were to make my hair look like yours and wear whatever clothing you're wearing and whatever makeup or whatever, I will look. I from a distance you might think I was a woman, and those things cover up the actual differences. Like
yes, they cover up the secondary sexual characteristics, but they also highlight them. Well, some things. So this is where I was going with the adult clothing throughout the ages. Adult clothing throughout the ages highlights secondary sexual characteristics. Whereas, I guess regular clothes don't necessarily, and so they're like non-sexualized clothes. But like the corsets, the bustiers.
Women wear high heels to look taller like men. Like all these things are doing.
No. It's not even about taller. It's about
longer legs.
When you wear high heels, your calf gets more pronounced in your butt.
Yeah, it makes your butt go.
It's a natural.
Well, it makes you turn your butt up.
Yeah, so it's not for the tallness necessarily. Long legs are attractive.
Says you.
I like.
What if I like?
Man doesn't like long legs?
No.
Find me a man that's like ew. Long
men
legs,
like stubby. Mine like stubby nugget legs.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Okay. Do you like witchcraft?
I mean, as like an edgy concept, but I don't like believe in it. Like, I don't think like it's real. But like, did I just do a witchy photo shoot for my friend's brand? Yes, I did. do you like beauty, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that women
I like beauty on everybody.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I think everybody should strive for it.
Okay. Well, that's cruel of you. Okay. Well, what about the ugly people? Okay.
Okay. That is fair. But I do, I like watching that channel Coves and stuff. I do think that there are beautiful people and not beautiful people. I think people can strive for, but I do think primarily we look at effort. I think even if you aren't naturally beautiful, you can put an effort into certain things. You could know what styling works best for you and what you're trying to communicate with your clothing and your hair. All right.
Facial hair. I was getting at something. Okay, I get it. You like putting on the Ritz or whatever. You like, Okay. Well,
yeah.
Okay. So I think that there's a connection to the allure for women to like horoscopes and like witchcraft stuff is because if a lot of your empowerment comes from beauty, you're doing these indirect things to gain power. So you're putting on like makeup and stuff, and so you're not seeing a direct relationship between that and power, but then people treat you better. It's like you're casting a spell. It's very sentimental or like superstitious. And so like,
no, I think
so like
go ahead.
you do these things and they make your life better and they empower you. And so of course you're gonna like, oh, I want a spell book and I want to crush cloves. I want to crush cloves and put it in a bowl and then do a chant. And then tomorrow, then my teacher's gonna give me an A or something, like, you know what I mean? It's like
it's so I don't know much about like the practice of witchcraft, but I do think a lot of it
esoteric.
Is ritual, and I do wonder about one ritual I can think of that men tend to do is go to the bathroom and sit on the toilet not shitting for like 40 minutes, but then they shit in the end or whatever, or they shit in the beginning and then they just sit with their shit for like 20 minutes.
I've got a problem with that. Okay, when do you wipe?
Me?
No, them.
Oh,
you
I think at the end.
Yeah, but
right?
like do you sit with a dirty ass?
Well, see, my problem is I don't know when the shitting starts, when that happens. So there's some sort of man ritual that happens in the toilet that I don't know about. I think it's about the mystery. Like, ooh, witchcraft, what's going on there?
The mystery.
Like, I think it's about making yourself mysterious.
When does the shit come out?
When does the shit come out? I do wonder. No, every time a man goes to the bathroom and comes out 40 minutes later, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Usually this is the opposite. Usually men are complaining about women being in the bathroom too long.
I just shit and go. I don't know like what they're doing in there, but it's like literally like we joke about it in this house. It's like, oh no, he went to the bathroom. Time to sit around for 40 minutes waiting for his ass.
His phone is probably filthy.
Everyone's phone is filthy, dude.
But the more you use your phone on the toilet, the probably worse. Sure.
Good for your immune system. We'll cope with that.
That's the worst thing about being a cashier is I have to touch people's phones when they when they show me their phone. I'm like, thank you, and I put it down and then I look at it like and we have a credit card scanning machine and like they hand me their credit card. I'm like.
So you're a little bit of a germaphobe.
I just don't like. I'm not that much of a germaphobe, but it's just like those two are just obvious. Like I want a handful of shit.
That is fair. Okay. So I have some. We're going to talk about poopy shit habits now. I'm very much like close the toilet lid when you flush, because if you don't, that's disgusting every single time. And another thing I notice in some men is they don't wash their hands after they pee because they didn't touch anything, but like you touch the toilet handle to flush, presumably, which means you did touch something. So wash your damn hands.
You touched your dick. Your dick okay. We're gonna talk about we're trading blows here. We're trading blows. Okay, so when I was a femboy, I would wear women's underwear. Okay, and I know it's for whatever. Okay, deal with it. Okay, it's a little too TMI. Okay, but I noticed that when I would do that, it would get way dirtier in there. And I think if women wore boxers, they would have it would be more hygienic. I think that the tight constraining underwear makes your junk get way more filthy.
That's why I just usually don't, and I wear long skirts. It's breathy, prevents yeast infections. There's like a whole movement of women talking about like
I'm
not
so
wearing,
for
like,
that.
Lacy inner
I was just saying this is my I think this is a great catchphrase. But I think that real feminism is hairy, stinky feminism, and like blue-haired feminism is just a lie. It's not. There's no blue-haired feminism.
I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, we're fucking mammals. We are apes, and you know, I appreciate hygiene and everything, but I don't think it's inherently gross for a woman to not shave, for example. That's literally body is just shower.
Okay.
Wash yourself.
You don't mind the slightly TMI topics, right? Because in my experience, women that shave, it's way stinkier down there. Women that don't shave, it's way cleaner because it airs out.
I mean, that's what the hair is for. It traps, the outside elements and doesn't let them get to your skin. And a lot of methods of body hair removal injure the skin. So you're literally hurting your largest organ risking infection, and like obviously I shave, but that's just, I sometimes think about my participation in that and how I,
you got to do it for the
about,
beauty.
like, what I want to prioritize. Yeah, it's
you
like, what do I want to prioritize?
You're in the coven. You're in the witch coven. You have to do the spell. You have to do.
I simply must. But I actually do, like, as a bisexual woman, which might be new to some people in your stream, I do find it attractive when women have body hair, particularly armpit hair. I do like armpit hair on a woman.
I like it.
Yeah.
So often, like I when I go on a Tinder date with a woman, well, why do I always say women, like with a women? I don't know. I pronounce it that way on accident.
A lot of people do
nobody
that,
would realize it until now, and now they're all gonna hear me do it. But when they'll get undressed and I'll see that they're like shaved, and I'll be like, oh, I wasn't expecting. That's weird. It's like, why? Like, I expect you to have the like body, just a body. Is why you're doing that. It's just, I don't get it.
I do think, like, for me particularly, what I don't like is the full Brazilian, like at least a landing strip on anybody, men, women. Like I had an ex who would completely shave, and I'm like, I want some hair. I want some signs that you've, matured sexually there.
For me, it's not even that. Hair. It's not even that. It's just when I see clean shaven, I think dirty. It just it's because I've had so many experiences. It just is dirtier in my experience.
That is interesting.
With myself included.
Yeah, I do wonder about that. I do think technically on a medical probably level it is versus just having the hair. The hair's supposed to be there. You're removing something that's meant to be there. Your body grew it very nicely for you. It serves a function, it serves a purpose, but it doesn't look aesthetically nice for lots of people, so they decided that it doesn't look aesthetically nice, so they got rid of it. And it's like the sacrificial, like, thing of hurting yourself for aesthetics. I mean, that's what plastic surgery is. You're literally cutting into yourself, inducing inflammation, risking infection to improve aesthetically.
I don't respect that argument at all, but the argument that I think has some, well, I guess maybe if you like actually are a pedophile, then that makes sense. But like, but for me, like, the argument that makes more sense is like the tactile thing. Like, it's easier to get at the area if you're shaven. That makes sense.
It's easier to find the things you gotta find on female anatomy, I guess.
Yeah.
If it's shaven, but I do think for most people, I think they'll use the tactile argument, but I think for most people it's an aesthetic thing.
For me, the tactile argument is the silver lining every time I realize a woman shaved, and I'm like, oh, well, whatever. I guess there's this silver lining to it. Yeah,
it's a better argument. I would agree that is the better argument, but I don't think that that's the reason most people do it. I think they might cope with that reason later when they think about and try to introspect about why they do it. But if a long-term partner knows your body, they don't need you to be shaven to find what they need to find. So. Okay.
I made this argument a couple of days ago, speaking of hairy feminists. I was saying that if you are trans and you change into the body, so let's say that I'm a male and I want to be a woman. Like, all the stuff that I can do will make me a woman who is not a hairy feminist, because if I was a hairy feminist, I would just not care and just.
Well, I guess it. Yeah, I mean, there is that whole thing in some trans activism, right? About how trans women who have beards or like who don't perform femininity are just as valid, right? There's like that conversation.
Well, yeah. Then why even? Like then why even like say like you're trans? Why don't you just say that you're a gender abolitionist?
See, I don't know, because I personally am a gender abolitionist in that I don't have a gender identity. I really don't.
I have one in such that people treat me a certain way because I'm a man.
Well, yeah, but that's not.
But that's
that's
a you thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I personally internally don't have a sense of gender.
If you were to change bodies, if you woke up and you like had a man's body, how would you feel?
Well, I'd be distraught because I had this experience, right, of being female, but I don't think I would pursue anything because why would I mess with my, I guess I'm presuming, healthy male body now? But I'd be distraught because my fiance's straight. And,
yeah, that would be the worst part because it'd be like, will this ruin my relationships? Yeah. Yeah. Aside from that, how would you be like part of it be like exciting? Because it got like it's like probably that wouldn't be the first thing you'd feel. But like after a while, it'd be like, oh, what? I can try everything as a new thing. I guess
it'd be a very unique experience. Yeah. Like actually changing sex, it would be a very, very unique experience. But I do think that, but like nobody has that experience, right? Because I would have had the experience of actually being female, right?
Right.
But if I was born male, I think I would probably also not have a gender identity.
Yeah.
I'd probably act different and there'd be different expectations and I'd be treated different by society, but I just would be male and that's it. And I'd be a man because I'm male and I'm a woman because I'm female and that's that.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else attached to it.
But you like beauty.
Yes, I do need to explore where that comes from. I do think a lot of it is societal. At the same time, I like the beauty of nature and I like when men are beautiful. I like it when people look their best. I like it when nature looks its best. I love staring at the night sky and looking at the stars. I love beauty. I think beauty is why humans strive. I think being unable to experience beauty is depression. If you can't find like your child's first steps beautiful, I mean, what is that? That is depression. If you can't find like a moment of sitting with your loved one and watching the sunset beautiful, that's depression. I love beauty like that. I think that everybody can experience beauty, even if not everybody is beautiful, or rather is not beautiful, because I think anybody can be attractive to anybody, but like the general like supermodel beauty not everybody has, obviously.
I'm more of like a horror buff in this regard. Not in like I actually prefer horror movies, but it's just like for me I think there's togetherness in the suffering and the horror. Like so like what you're saying is beauty is like an escape kind of like you see the beauty in your child's first steps, or you can see the horror in their first steps, and I think that they're I guess in a way you can call that beauty too. But
I mean, I do like the macabre. That's something that my mom sometimes, she's like, you're in your mid-20s, you're turning 27, like why do you still like this creepy shit? And I'm like, I think it's pretty. I like the John Waterhouse like paintings and stuff. So I like the macabre. I like horror. I just watched the Blair Witch Project for the first time. That movie is very, very well made. So I don't know, but
okay,
that is interesting actually, the perspective of horror. Like because I'm saying like I think beauty is the reason
this
humans
might be
strive.
something I think I'd be better off if I was like that. I think about this about myself. I realize this about myself. I'm like I'm kind of running away from that beauty mindset. Is that good for me? I don't know. Okay, so I was realizing, so in the car today, I was realizing this. I haven't like fermented this, but thinking about great artists, I feel like a lot of the greats. So when I was in poetry class, this is where the thought came. When I was in poetry class, they were teaching us. I was in a lot of poetry classes. I've taken like 6 poetry workshop classes, and the teachers I would always focus on trying to say something profound and meaningful to me. Sylvia Plath was like my role model for writing poetry, and that's way harder than what the most poets do. Is they go for style, and they go for a little bit of they end up at something that seems profound, but they didn't really have a profound thing to say in the beginning. They let it guide them to get there. And I think all the greats really have something profound of observation. And I think that those greats are in touch with like a horror of existence. And to emulate that, but just focus on beauty, I feel like you're kind of like ditzing through it. And not to shit on your parade, you know, because like it's probably way better to be like that. But I feel like there's something to like having your eyes wide open and being terrified all the time and screaming, and then you have that thing to say.
That's very valid, and that's actually in my poetry classes a critique I got, in that I would always just try to find the prettiest string of words that didn't necessarily mean anything. And so it was very, I think good art has both. And you got to find the balance of both.
Yeah.
And I do think that not being able to experience beauty is unhealthy and probably what we call depression.
Mental illness.
Because at least that's how I think about it for me. I'm like, imagine if I felt nothing looking at the stars right now. Oh my God, like I'd kill myself. You know?
Yeah. Well, a lot of great artists do.
Exactly. You know, that's the crazy part. Well, not the crazy part, but that's the reality of it. I do think that ideally a healthy human, you know, like you are aware of your environment. Like I know when it's time to be horrified. Don't get me wrong. Like I've been through some not fun things,
we're going down the path that, like, this is my car ride earlier when I was driving to, so when I was driving to check out an apartment. So I really am a big fan of Marilyn Manson, and something that really strikes me about his work is that he talks, and strikes me in a way that I don't really like, is how much he talks about suicide, but like willy-nilly. But he also has contradicting things in the same songs often. He'll say like I forget what, I think it's The Reflecting God, which is like one of his most like brutal, like cruel sounding songs. And I think it was in that song that he's saying like, my world's unaffected, there is an exit here, and he's basically saying suicide. And so like you're all suffering like because you're all like religious or whatever, but like I don't see any of that, and there's an exit here. But then also he says life has when there's, without the threat of death, there's no reason to live. So he's also saying the opposite of suicide at the same time. So I was thinking during the car ride, had an epiphany. So I don't think he actually wanted to kill himself. I think he wanted someone to kill him. I think that was his dream. I think he wanted someone to hate him so much that they would kill him.
You know what's interesting is the threat, like about that lyric. And I had a few thoughts pop up, which I'll get to in a bit. But about that lyric is that the threat of death is always here, and you don't need somebody to literally be threatening your life. We're all gonna die. Like time will do it for you. It'll happen.
The point of that lyric, I think, is clearly he's doing a lot of religious imagery, and he's saying that if you go to heaven after you die, there's no reason, there's no actual threat of death. So he's saying, because I don't believe in that, I actually have a reason to live. Right.
Yeah, and I mean that is an argument that a lot of atheist thinkers make too, right? Like if you're only a good person because of the, you'll get into heaven, or if you know that there's an afterlife, like what's the point of doing anything good here, or like doing anything here at all? But I also thought about like, you saying like he wants someone to kill him, and like I don't know if that's necessarily, if it is necessarily his thinking. I think if it is his thinking, then he kind of is a little bit short-sighted in that it's okay, you'll die.
Yeah, it's a long shot, but like that particular era of his work was like really early on, and I've thought so much about how he turned into a boring artist, and how his early stuff is so provocative and like really full of meaning, and then he kind of just stopped with all that, and but like he didn't kill himself, he just became boring. And I think he wanted at least someone to kill him. Like that's what I've come up with.
Oh, interesting.
It's like my word. I don't know, but like I feel like he maybe uses suicide as a metaphor for the not believing in heaven or an afterlife is like a suicide because you're giving up immortality.
So I'm not extremely familiar with his work. I know like 2 or 3 of his songs, one of which was the music video that was inspired by The Holy Mountain by Jodorowsky.
Which which song is that?
Hold on.
Is that
it's the one where he like shaves the ladies' heads. And he took that scene directly from The Holy Mountain.
I don't remember.
It's the one where they're like 2 naked. I think, is it Beautiful? No, it's not Beautiful. It is. Sorry, I'm just gonna look it up right now. Is it Born Villain?
Oh, that's after the era. I don't even like that era of him.
Which video was it?
If we're gonna get serious into if we're gonna get serious into Marilyn Manson talk, I'm just going to make clear this is a really off-the-cuff theory that I have about him wanting someone to kill him, because like I've thought long and hard about him, and that's just like an off-the-cuff thought. But what I really think, my real thesis about Marilyn Manson is that his early work is so profound because he was rebelling against his parents, and then he gave up on that and he started telling everybody that he had amazing parents, when in fact it's an absolute lie. But he just decided that, because I become Marilyn Manson, I have amazing parents, and he gave up the ghost. His first album, his second album is The Portrait of an American Family. The third album is all basically like so much of that album is like hinting at rebelling against his parents. The boy that you loved is the man that you fear, and that's like the climax of the whole album. Anyway, I think that the real reason that he started to suck is because he gave up on rebelling against his parents.
I do wonder, actually, so I'm glad you brought this up, because one of the first thoughts I had when you mentioned that lyric is maybe he was being edgy for the sake of being edgy and there wasn't like a real meaning there at all, because I do think that there is some, like, I think there's a reason why you end up in a place, like whether it's frou-frou-ness for the sake of frou-frou-ness, edginess for the sake of edginess, right? There is a background to that. Like I think about like the black metal band Mayhem, and like they use like their bandmate's suicide as an album cover. You can find
I think that it wasn't. I think it wasn't.
You think it wasn't edginess for the sake of being edgy from Marilyn Manson?
Well, the only way that he does that is in at least the Marilyn Manson I like. He's got like a bunch of newer albums like that. Like I only like his like first 4 or 5 albums, but everything after that sucks. And I think that the stuff that is edgy for the sake of he's just provoking religious people by saying the opposite of what they think. But that's also, it's not just for he's like being specific, targeted edgy. So it's not just edgy for the sake of being edgy.
Well, how would you, I guess, classify, like, even if it is targeted edginess, does it need to be for the sake of something other than edginess to be targeted?
He went to a Catholic school, and like they were like abusive nuns there and stuff. And so he'll like have like lyrics like take your apple and stick it into my throat. And he's got bitterness and resentment. So it's not just I'm being edgy. He's like, I actually hate you. Is this what he's...
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. That is interesting.
It's hateful. That's what's so powerful about it. It's not edgy for the sake of edgy. It's hateful. It's vicious. He's so bitter and mean, and that's what makes it so powerful.
But I guess you would say then that he evolved into being edgy for the sake of being edgy, because he had nothing to really rebel against anymore.
He gave up on rebelling.
Do you think, I mean, that was probably good for him as a person, but maybe bad for him as an artist?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
So do you think healthy, like mentally healthy, stable people can be good artists?
No. I think that to be a genius, like all the greatest inventors, scientists, artists, they were all mentally ill. Like 99.99% of them. To be healthy, you have to just kind of trust other people, and you have like a roadmap, and you can fit in, you can excel in the world you live in. But to push the envelope, to do something new, you can't fit. You're a puzzle piece with no puzzle. You got a new puzzle you're making, and so you can't. That's why they're all mentally ill. So I think that mental illness is like, if mental illness plus being really smart, fighting to overcome your mental illness is the trappings of genius. You have to be. If you're mentally ill, you could have a gift.
I do wonder, or you could just die in a gutter, I guess. But I do wonder about Gustav Klimt. I don't know much about his life, but he just kind of seemed like a hippie who lived in like a I guess abaya looking cloth, like a big little tunic, and just chilled and painted naked ladies.
The guy,
I don't know about the state of his mental health.
Stuff. Well, yeah, but
do you know?
Yeah, well,
about his life or anything?
There's a lot. I know not about his life, but I'm familiar with his work. But I think that there's a lot of artists that I think most artists. I love his work. I was very inspired by it when I was younger. Him and Egon Schiele. But I don't think. I think if that's the case, I just think that there's a lot of artists who are just. Like you can fake the mental illness by being chaotic. So Random XD, comes from an era where Dadaism and stuff. It's like I think the way that name for that art movement was somebody threw a knife at a dictionary, and then they looked at which page it pointed at, and it pointed at the word Dadaism. Or one word Dada, which meant like horse or something like that. And so it's just chaos. And so you can fake the mental illness by just being chaotic.
Do you think what era do you think we're in, since things are cyclical, like artistically?
Well, I think that is always the case, that there are going to be people to be using the chaos. I think that we're in I think that the cycle, I think we're going into uncharted territory, because with social media and this conversation has gone so many fucking places. Anybody who's listening to this, enjoying this, I'm so glad you're fucking vibing. Okay. But like, I think that with social media and I think it's always been the case. To actually go back to my other thing I was saying, it's about geniuses. It's always been the case that we hate geniuses. They have to fight throughout history. Genius scientists, people with like great grand new ideas, people with great new artistic ideas, they have to kind of conceal, and they have to kind of cover it up and not be too honest and revealing, or they have to kind of be manipulative to get people to like accept them. And I think that we're in an era where it's so accessible to just shit on people, and it can get you a lot. So that we're shutting down a lot of genius, honestly. And I think we're going into it's baked into how social media works, how YouTube works, all these platforms where people share all of their art and anything interesting. And I think anything genius gets shut down very quickly. The people that shut it down become bigger. And I think we're going toward that with AI evolving. We're going towards a hyper sterile, puritanical world. So I guess it's cyclical because I think that we were like that at some points in history, but
like in the Dark Ages.
Yeah, I think we're going towards the Dark Ages, ironically, in some ways. It's going to blow up, but...
Who do you have as an example of genius that...
Okay, you're not going to like this.
No, I
okay. Okay. So, for example, like, so all the genius, all the great art. I think that Marilyn Manson's genius clearly. Okay, I'm just a little fanboy, but like now, like people, and they tried to cancel him, and that didn't stick, but like it worked. It didn't like. It turns out he was innocent. But it had a big effect on his career. The guy that invented Rick and Morty. He's like, I think that they all get like canceled, and so the only people that don't are like alt-right or like Nick. You can't be canceled if you're Nick Fuentes, But an example I was gonna say is Mr. Girl. He's got lots of weird. He's an artist, and he's got ideas that he's not like a bad person. I don't think. He just, well, maybe...
I don't know him, so...
He doesn't... Okay, maybe he is a bad person, actually. Hold on, let me amend that. The things that he has been canceled for are not being a neo-Nazi and stuff. He's like critical of trans stuff in a provocative way, but he's also trying to be empathetic. It's just that he has something interesting to say, and so he's been deplatformed off of everything.
I mean, I'm not super familiar with him as a person. I do wonder if I do think you brought up a salient point in that, you don't get canceled if you're Nick Fuentes. And what's interesting is it's the people who try to, I guess, reach out and be at least somewhat universally palatable. Or they build their platform on, this is for everybody. I don't know much about Justin Roiland's case.
It was a like a
I know it was a DV dispute.
A domestic violence. I thought he was. I thought he was messaging it was messaging a minor and making.
Well, see now we don't even hold on. Was it Justin Roiland or the other one? There's two of them I created. Is it the other one? Okay, yeah, it was the DV charges that I heard last. Apparently they've been dropped though in 2023.
Yeah, but yet he's canceled from the show and they've moved on from without him.
So that's interesting though, because he
was messaging a minor that I believe was like 11 or 12, who's like a family member, and he's making similar jokes to the stuff that he'd make on his show, and they were sexual. And while that might be like, you shouldn't do that, I don't think he was actually like grooming a minor, which is what they kind of was canceled for. Like, I think it's, you can say that you don't like it and it's gross and criticize him, but I don't think he is a groomer,
Yeah, I think there's like a separate thing of like what you would do as a human or like as an individual with a person like that and just be like, hey dude, that's kind of gross. And what you do as a business, which is what art became. Or
yeah, so the people that thrive
right?
are the people that are going to thrive are Kai Cenat, Mr. Beast, people that are Lanky Box. Like people that are literally making screaming content for kids or whatever, that's what's gonna thrive.
But isn't that always the case, or like very much often the case? Like, who do we think of like the successful art or like the famous artists now? Like Van Gogh, like was a mentally ill dude who like kept trying to kill himself, and he never actually saw the results of his art, but now he's considered one of the most profound and like well-respected artists. I mean, hasn't that always been the case? That the people who know how to navigate the current environment and build success off of it, yeah, they're going to see the success now. But the people who are going to be remembered, they're probably not going to get to see that in their lifetime.
Maybe we just got like a really interesting renaissance moment in the 80s and 90s when we actually got interesting things getting funded, and we're just lamenting the loss of that magical time.
Maybe. I mean, I also think about, like, there's bands and music that was popular in the 80s that we don't remember now, but then there is stuff that we do remember now. This is now a separate topic, but I often think about how I think like something like the Beatles is never going to happen again, because the algorithm feeds you such an individualized like thing catered to your specific tastes.
Yeah.
The Beatles is not going to be a thing. Michael Jackson is not going to be a thing again.
The Beatles would be a thing if they were doing what Mr. Beast is doing.
But Mr. Beast is only famous on the internet. So, if I ask my mom who is Mr. Beast, she's gonna be like, I don't. That's what I think. That's what I think.
That's what I think the future is. I think that Mr. Beast is the Beatles of today. I think that Big Justice from the Costco guys, Big Justice is the Michael Jackson of today. So I think that's just what it is.
I don't even know who that is. Who is Big Justice?
Well, maybe not quite Michael Jackson yet, but whatever.
You know, that my point is, I don't think that, because the Beatles were ubiquitous. Like a grandma on a rock in Ireland knows who the Beatles is. She doesn't know who the fuck Mr. Beast is or who Big Justice is. But there was something special about the Beatles era where a band, a musician, an artists could blow up like that, and everybody knows who you are.
Donald Trump.
Ooh, well, that's politics, though.
But is he really?
That's a separate...
I mean, he actually really is a politician, but also, like, is he really? You know what I mean?
Well, was he as well known before he got into politics?
Not as well, but very well.
Like random grandma on an Irish Rockwell?
Yeah, he was in like Home Alone.
Yeah, but Home Alone is an American. I remember in Russia watching Home Alone, but like I haven't re-seen that movie ever again. Like that movie's not universally relevant.
Okay, well, he was in Home Alone 2, just to be clear, but...
Well, I don't even know if I've seen that one.
Home Alone 2 takes place in Trump Tower.
Okay, but that's only relevant in an Anglophone context. Like, that's not relevant in freaking Georgia, the country, not the state. Like,
I guess so.
Know?
Yeah.
So it's because he's a politician and because he was influencing things on a global scale.
Were the Beatles relevant at the time in Thailand?
I don't know about Thailand, but they were definitely known in the Soviet Union, which should be an indicator because there was literally like
back in the USSR.
Back
in the USSR, you don't know how lucky.
Country, okay?
It's a Beatles song.
I'm not a big. See, apparently the post-Soviets don't know the Beatles that well. My mom loves the Beatles, but in the Soviet Union, like through the Iron Curtain, people would smuggle the Beatles, Pink Floyd. I don't know about Led Zeppelin. Probably not Led Zeppelin, but there was a saying. Тот, кто слушает Pink Floyd, надо катить. Oh my God, some sort of метлой. It ends with метлой, but I don't know what word is in between that. But there was a saying about people who listen to Pink Floyd, how they're punks and how they suck and whatever. And people would like smuggle jeans and stuff. So I'm saying that the Beatles were relevant on a level, like people knew them and had to smuggle them in. You know, like I'm sure since they didn't have to be smuggled into Thailand. I don't know how relevant. I'm not familiar with Thailand. They're
responsible for the boom of ladyboys in Thailand, the Beatles solely.
I think that's more of a cultural thing, but that is
it was the Beatles.
Joke. That would be so. If I Google this and it is somehow true, that would be amazing.
That's why Ringo Starr goes to Thailand every single year.
He has to make sure that the stock of Lady Boys
he's got to keep his stock in
continuing
check.
to go up. But yeah, no, I do think about that, how that's interesting that, we're never going to have something like that again, and we've lived through it. And I wonder about how many things we're never going to have happen again, or if
I think it could happen. Things
version.
yeah, it'll just be different. I think
Yeah,
I think there will be I think Mr. Beast style famous will, because there's a gap barrier between old people that just don't use the internet, but eventually everybody will, and so I think Mr. Beast will be it. So.
But I guess it's only if the algorithms change again to feed something to everybody. Because right now I can't think of something
but
that's
the thing is,
everybody.
but the thing is, even if you don't watch Mr. Beast and you're online, you know who Mr. Beast is.
If you're online, oh, okay, you know what? You're right. So once the people who
you see clips, and you.
Mm-hmm. Once the internet becomes universally accessible, it's universally accessible in the West, I'd say, but in a lot of the world, there's people who just live without internet.
Yeah,
but
people in Russia are still making Super Nintendo games, bootleg Super Nintendo games and stuff.
So
you ever hear of Dizzy the Egg?
Mm-mm.
It's like some franchise of some like egg that it's like a quasi adventure game, and he collects items. They're still making Dizzy the Egg games in Russia. Like, it's crazy.
That's interesting. No, I don't know.
If you don't know what it is, but yeah.
Well, now I'm thinking about games I played in 2006 or whatever on the computer. There was like some dinosaur's birthday game, and I had the Casper game CD in Russian. One where you could play as each of the ghosts' games. Anyway, yeah, no, I think once the internet becomes ubiquitously available, we might have something like the Beatles again. You're right. If that ever happens,
but it'll suck though, and it'll be and part of the enjoyment of it will be that everybody hates it. So like Mr. Beast, because that's what's going to make it get shared by everybody. So.
I do wonder about how the internet as a whole will evolve, because I remember like the MySpace.
This is
and, like,
what
how
it is.
social media worked
Okay,
then.
I'm gonna give you the most beautiful visual that's gonna be most perfect. Everybody listening to this is gonna increase their IQ by 10 points going forward. So it's like we are all neurons, okay? Just bear with me, okay? We're neurons on a petri disk, and we're disconnected from each other. The internet is like you're pouring in a liquid that makes all the neurons connect, and all these neurons are like, ew, I hate you. We all hate each other because we're all disgusting, and we all hate all the ugly things about each other. So we're all lashing out at each other and being hateful towards each other and rejecting each other. And so that's the way it's going to go for a long time. So we're going to pretend that we're all perfect and pristine, and we're all going to shape our neurons just so that we look like perfect, but really we're just disgusting. And then eventually it's going to reach a breaking point where we're all going to be like so in touch with each other that it's impossible to hide the ugliness of everybody. And it's all going to be out there because we're going to be so interconnected that all of our ugliness is going to be touching each other constantly all the time. And that breaking point is going to be World War III.
Oh, like a singularity?
I don't know about singularity.
Of shared consciousness.
No, not literally a shared consciousness. I'm just saying like there will be so much of yourself shared that it will be impossible to maintain the puritanical mindset where we're all shaming each other for tons of stuff constantly. Eventually, it won't be possible.
Yeah. I do wonder about that because you can because when I think about what you're saying, I think about like in my generation, like the kids who grew up on the internet and posted cringe Facebook statuses, and then the kids growing up now on TikTok, and they're literally filming everything and all their embarrassing moments and moments that they're gonna regret as adults, but that they've documented and that are now on the internet. Is that kind of what you're getting at, or are you getting at like outside of the internet societally, that will have access to this information somehow?
both. Like it'll just be like, you won't even have to post it. It'll just be there. All your most embarrassing moments without ever having to post it. It'll automatically be uploaded by whatever security camera or whatever. You know, like we'll have like I don't know, 100 years from now, it'll be like TikTok Plus, and it'll be a program that like will track like CTV footage so that you can always be streaming no matter what, and you'll pay $100 for the service every year or something like that. I don't know, I think there will be a breaking point where we just can't pretend everybody's pure and innocent.
Do you think that will result in World War III, a civil war?
I don't know.
Or here's my optimist coming out, or everybody just actually on a real level realizing that everybody's human and everybody has their ugly side, and as long as you're not stabbing babies on your way to the grocery store, maybe we can all just chill.
Well, the World War III comment was the least sure, but I hope that it ends up there. But I think somewhere along the lines there's going to be a World War III.
Some would argue
I do think
right now.
If there is a World War III, it is social media is going to play a very big role in it.
I mean, social media played a big role in the past few elections, so I can totally see that happening, and it is. I don't know to what extent. I don't necessarily follow politics in that way because I only have so much brain power, and I gotta really choose where to put my spoons.
You gotta focus on your beauty.
No, I'm focused on playing Magic the Gathering and whether I should buy this $27 card or get a proxy. That's where my brain power is going.
Oh my god.
I literally spent $100 on like 6, 7, about 12 cards, 12 cardboard Magic the Gathering cards. And then
it's an investment. It's an investment. No, it is an investment.
Yeah. I cope with that, sure. Yeah, I'm totally gonna sell them later.
Yeah, well, the value will go up, right?
Right, yeah. So that's where my brain power goes. My brain power goes into hanging out with, and this is something that I should probably put more effort into, living a more intellectual existence. But literally my day-to-day is like work, do housework, play Dungeons and Dragons, play Magic the Gathering.
Maiden Monster said, okay, Boogie. She's calling you Boogie.
No! Dude, it's my fiance's fault. When I first started playing Magic, I was like, I'm only gonna play from his collection. And then as soon as those dumbass squirrels came out, Bloomborough, it was over for me. They knew how to target women. They were like, give them cute little guys and they will flock, and flock I did.
Tragic.
And I literally...
Tragic the Gathering.
The funniest thing is, I saw that squirrel and I was like, I'm getting that deck. And my roommate and boyfriend were like, you just got the best deck in the Bloomborough series. Ugh, now we're not going to get the other Bloomboroughs. And I'm like, I just liked the cute squirrel. But it is a very good deck. And I have invested into it to make it stronger. So anyway, that's where my brain power goes in case anyone's curious. So I don't know much about what's going on
outside of the deck.
Outside of Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, but I do think that the internet is adding a layer to warfare that wasn't there before, and I think it already is. I think you're saying it will. I think it already is. There's some people that argue that TikTok, being a Chinese app or whatever, is a form of psychological warfare on the West. I heard this theory.
Yeah, so that's what I think. So it's what I think is going to actually... I keep doing this where I said this and then what I actually think. Because I saw hinting at where a topic, but what I actually think is going to... If social media causes world war, whatever, it'll be because platforms like TikTok or Twitter, which is now owned by Elon Musk, and he's doing with it whatever he wants, and the ramifications, the effects that's going to have on the world are profound. And he's a shit poster. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He posts articles that he doesn't fucking read, and He's a fucking more like Elon Musk is a like retarded uncle like poster moron, and his retarded uncle posting is going to have a massive effects on the world. And I think that we're going to realize that social media needs to after we like this all causes like a big giant conflict. We're going to realize that social media has to be a public good that is kept completely neutral for the sake of United of mankind, not just the United States.
Ooh, that will definitely change like the landscape, because will people then have a right to start their own social, I mean, because we think about the news, right? Almost in that way, but then also anybody can just go and make a news channel or like on YouTube or whatever, and anybody can tout themselves as a source of information. So do you think like the government will basically be like, hey, sorry Zucky, we're taking Facebook, and you get a little Facebook tax taken out of your paycheck every month so that Facebook can keep running? And then people will just be like, okay, well, I'm gonna go create my own private. So like, do you think there'll be a public and privatized social media?
I just think that once it gets to a certain like threshold, it becomes when it becomes the public square, then it can't be you can't have a privately owned public square. And I think having public squares being privately owned is what's going to be central. It's going to be an obvious central force in upcoming world conflicts.
Do you think it's already the public square, or do you think it's
absolutely already the public square? Absolutely.
Because I do think about, like, I mean, where I stand on it at this moment is that since social media is owned privately, the rules for engagement on that platform, I guess outside of blatantly illegal things, but on that platform can be decided by that platform. So they can ban somebody just because they want to, and they have a right to do that technically.
Yeah, I don't think they should have that right.
Okay, so you're saying the government should be like,
because it's a public
good,
because it's I think that's going to be apparent after major conflicts happen.
But also, well, that's interesting, because I think making it into a public good will also cause its own major conflict. So it'll be several different conflicts happening at the same time. Because if there's the argument that like the Chinese version of TikTok in China, like I heard this one lady talk about how
I agree that free speech has dangers, and so that's basically what we're talking about. But I think that basically speech has moved to the internet, and I think that it is no longer. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll just have like a weird feudalistic free speech system where there's no free speech. Like your intellectual engagement in the world is within feudalistic systems.
Well, to be fair, it's the fact what we can do on the internet, I think, is a form of a privilege, because nobody's stopping you from going outside and rallying people and actually getting to know your neighbors.
You need to have the internet to do that now.
I don't know about need. I think you need the internet to do it on as a large scale quickly, but I mean, people survived and organized and exercised their free speech rights before the internet existed.
I just don't think that the public square is like your church book club or whatever. I think the public square is like the
public square is bigger now.
Yeah.
But then I do wonder about the public square that exists right there. I'm looking at it right now outside my window.
Well, go out there and let's go out there and have this conversation and see how many people listen.
Well, I'm not making any money off social media right now, so for me, it's not yet about how many people are listening.
No, I'm saying, and not about money. I'm saying that like you want to be heard.
Well, kind of, but I mean, I have these kinds of conversations every day with the people in my house, and nobody's hearing us, and they're still wonderful. And You know, that's what it's about for me.
Yeah.
I have these conversations. Oh, this is something that, you know, me and my now sister-in-law, well, I guess not yet sister-in-law because I didn't get married yet, but my fiance's brother's wife, she's also Middle Eastern. And we tell our husbands and future husbands that we have a condition, and it's called, I'm going to be talking really loudly in public. Any conversation we have, if I get really into it, I start just getting louder and louder. So, yeah, I do definitely shout in the public square at restaurants very frequently about conversations like this, like what we're having right now. I'll be like, I don't know, like, why are you in the toilet for 40 minutes super loudly? And he's like,
okay.
This is bigotry.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
I'm running out of spoons, all right? And
that is fair, and it is about the time.
You have to be on a thing. You have to be on a thing, too.
Yes.
Are you out of spoons?
I'm not out of spoons yet. I came here fully expecting to go onto the Brittaney Simon stream as well. So, but you're out of spoons and you have to go to work. So
yeah, I'm like, I don't think I have a lot of spoons.
That's fair.
Anyway, okay, I'll talk to you another time. Thank you for saving me. All right, have a good one.
You as well.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
Okay, guys. It's getting to that time.
Super Mario Sunshine! Woohoo!
It's Super Mario Sunshine! Super Mario Sunshine! Great combo. I'm glad you liked it. Have a great night, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for enjoying your time. If you didn't enjoy it, then go fuck yourself. Or not. Whatever. Have a good one, everybody. Have a good night. Have a good day. I'm gonna have to go to work.